Back at the end of October in 2012, we were awaiting the Sandy storm to hit us. I had my generator all ready to protect us if we had a power outage, which we did for 9 days. We didn't have power, so we were able to restore it with the generator. And that's why I'm dressed in this raincoat and hat, because it commemorates the storm, which will, hopefully it will not come again, but we have to be prepared. So, in addition to having the generator ready, I wanted to check out my car and see if I could siphon gas out of the car in case of this emergency, so that we could use the 12 or 14 gallons in there if I couldn't get it from the local gas station. So I went into the garage and bought a plastic tube and tried to siphon the gas out of my tank by sucking it out, which is very traditional. But I found immediately, as soon as I started sucking, that the gas fumes were absolutely noxious. And I realized all of a sudden, I'm not going to be able to do this. But now, I didn't want to give up, because this was not an exercise. The storm was real. We had seen it, all the damage it had already done on TV, and we wanted to be fully prepared for it. So, I thought for a minute, and I said to myself, there's got to be another way to siphon gas. And I stood there for a moment, and all of a sudden, in a moment, a solution came into my mind of how to siphon the gas. And now here we are, almost a year later, and we've got the PullFlowSiphon to show you and to demonstrate today and to bring it out on the market. And as far as I know, it is still a unique product. There is, the reason I decided to follow up on this was because after that incident in the garage, I went upstairs, checked out the internet, looked up siphons, and I couldn't find a single siphon that worked the way I had imagined it could work. So I was inspired to continue to develop this product to the point where I can bring it to the public today. So now I'm going to show it to you and explain how it works. We have this reusable bag that comes along with the product. We have a flyer in here that also explains all about it, and has instructions on the back on directions of how to use it. We take it out, and it comes packed with Velcro so we can reuse it. And the first thing we have to do when we get the siphon out of the bag is get a feel for the tube itself. Straighten it out a bit. This tube is not rigid, but it is stiff, which is very good for siphoning gas. But we don't want to siphon it when it's all curved up, because then there'd be too much resistance to the pulling, which is the way this works. And I'm going to show that to you right away. Okay, so first thing I'm going to do is show you how easy this is to pull out, by the way. Okay, just like this. Anyone can use this, no matter how aged you might be. Strength is not required, and I'm going to show you this repeatedly. But here's the way it works. Okay, we have a flow tube on the outside, and we have a pull tube on the inside. And the pull tube has a little plug in it that fits very snugly into the flow tube. And as I pull the siphon through, the inner tube through, it sucks the air, it sucks the gasoline into the tube, creates a vacuum, and that's how this siphon works. Another feature of this siphon is that on this on this side, we have these little cutouts. On this side, it's flat, okay? And either side can be used for siphoning, but I prefer to use the cutouts when I'm going to be siphoning gas from a tank that you can't see into very well, but one that you want to make sure you get this down to the bottom so you get all of the gasoline out. Okay, so now I'm going to reload the siphon, which it can be reused. All you have to do to reload it is reinsert the pull tube into the flow tube, and it's as easy as this, and I don't have to rush or anything like that. Now I want to point out one thing here. When you put it in to reuse it, don't leave this open like this, because if it's like this, when I put the tube into the gasoline will get behind the plug, and we don't want that, because then when we pull it out, it'll get on our hands when it drips out on the other end. So the first thing to do is make sure you put this in securely and firmly into the tube, okay? And having these cutouts makes sure that even though this goes into the bottom, there's still room for the gasoline to get into the tube. Now, the other thing about siphoning is that you must have the gasoline container above the top. The bottom of the container has to be above the top of the tank you're going to put it into. And right now I'm just going to put this tube in, and this is why a semi-rigid tube is good, because it'll keep this position when I put it into the tank. So to demonstrate how this works, and this is a unique product, so we put it in here like this, and we can hear it hit the bottom, and open up the gas tank on the generator, and all I'm going to do now is pull the gas up, and you can see how easy I'm pulling here, and here comes the gasoline. You can see it in the tube right behind the plug. I don't have to rush. I don't have to be anxious about anything. As long as there's a vacuum there, the gas is contained inside. It's not going to spill. I don't have to worry where I am standing here now until I come to the very end. When I get near the end, now I have to position my siphon over the tank, and I pull on the pull tube, not the flow tube, so that when it comes out, there's less of a reaction, and we have the flow of gas into the generator, and you can see that going in. All I have to do is put that in, just make sure this is stable, doesn't fall over, and it's working. That's the demonstration. This siphon has a 1/2-inch tube which siphons 2.5 gallons per minute. If you see another siphon that claims more than that, like 3.5 gallons, be suspicious and ask for proof, because in our testing with a 1/2-inch tube, all we can do is 2.5 gallons per minute. And that's pretty fast anyway. All right? So, at this point, we're just waiting. And this is basically the main function of the siphon. The other main purpose is, the real advantage of using a siphon is that you don't have to carry this 35-pound gasoline container when it's working. Okay? You can just leave it standing here. That's the real advantage, especially for older people, because that's a strain, and when you do that, that's where the gas spills all over the place. And now you see it's coming to the end of the siphon, and the siphon stops by itself in this case, but here's another thing to be careful of. There's gasoline connected with the tube. You don't want to just pull this out with gasoline, because you'll start waving the gasoline around. So you pull it out carefully, make sure it's dripped empty out here, you can see it, and tip it over here so that you empty all the gasoline out of the tube before you start moving the thing around. Okay, that's another way you can avoid spilling gasoline. Okay, and now this is done, and you can see at the end now that this has emptied out almost all the gasoline. Now, when you come to the time when you want to put your gas generator away, we may look in here and say, oh, this is filled with gas, and I don't want to put it back in my garage full of gas, so I want to use the siphon again to empty the generator tank back into the gasoline tank. And that's the next thing we're going to do. But first I'm going to reload the siphon so that it can do that. And again, we just take the pull tube and put it into the flow tube. Make sure it's in nice and snug. Okay. Take the empty tank, come over here, put it down, take the business end of the siphon, put it into my gas tank, and proceed to pull the gas up again. And there it comes. You can see it with the gas. There it is. We just bring it up and just get ready to position it over the entrance to the gas container. Bring it right down. You can see that coming through. And here it comes right at the end. And I brace this on my knee and just pulling on the flow tube. And you can see the flow of gasoline coming out right now. And that's it. Just put it in and let it do its job. And that's just about it. So we'll pull the gasoline out of the tank. Here you have to be careful because the gasoline generator may be a bigger tank than the gas container, so you have to watch it not to overfill your container. Again, I can drop this. Okay, I'm going to assume this is done now. And the same thing here, when you fill this up, you can pull the tube, and here I stop the siphon by pulling it up. Make sure it drains back into the tank on this end before I pull it out. And on this end, make sure I drain it out of the tube here also so that it doesn't spill all over when I take it out. Okay. And the last part of the demonstration is going to be how to clean my siphon before I put my siphon away. So all I do is reload it. And, oh, by the way, we see we've got the gasoline is back in the tank. And it's very easy to clean this siphon also. I have a little piece of tissue. And all I do is wrap the tissue behind the plug and pull it through again the same way I would pull it through to clean a gun barrel, a rifle barrel, or some kind of a shotgun or pistol. Put this into the tube. And put it in here. Now it'll give me a little extra resistance in pulling it, but that's all you have to do is put the tissue in there. And when you pull it through, and notice I stand with a kind of a wide arm stance to keep the tube as straight as possible, and pull it through. And as I pull it through, you can see it's cleaning the tube out, because here's the tissue. So we pull it through, and at the end we take it out. You can put the tube down, take this and drain off the rest of the gasoline from the pull tube, and that's it. That's the end of the demonstration. And now I'm going to discuss some of the uses of the PullFlowSiphon. Okay, the PullFlowSiphon can extract gas from any small gasoline-driven appliance you might have, like a lawnmower, snowblower, chainsaw, rototiller, or a weed whacker. At the end of the season, when you want to empty them, you can use the PullFlowSiphon to do it. We've also included in the package for free an aquarium attachment which will clean the gravel for you. Okay? Now, you can find the PullFlowSiphon on Amazon.com, on eBay, and at our website on PullFlowSiphon.com. We hope you've enjoyed the presentation. I hope you found it useful, and I hope it helps you to prepare for some future emergency, or even doing your daily chores with siphoning. Okay? Thank you very much.